Hello and welcome to another episode of Film Freakz with a Z, the podcast all about movies. Every episode is about one singular movie. We talk about it, review, do a discussion, whatever you want to call it. And this episode's movie will be introduced in a little bit. But first, let me go over the movies that you can vote on in the fan vote. That's right. This episode is attached to a poll on my Twitter with 4 movies that you can choose from, so you can essentially choose our fate. Up first, we got Lilo and Stitch, which was recommended by Jesse. Pitch Black, which was recommended by Slap. Big Trouble in Little China, which was recommended by Chaz. And Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, which was recommended by Tim Rules. So you can go over to the Twitter and vote on whatever you want to vote on. And then the winner, of course, will be selected or revealed, I should say, at the end of Coco's recommendation episode. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. I am Yemmy the Ferret, a.k.a. Yemmy. Who am I here with?
Pretty Waffles.
Animation.
Coco Gamer.
How it be, how it do, everybody.
My allergies are killing me.
Exhausted.
And the weather hasn't been so well here either.
Yeah, it's super windy here. And it's just blowing up everything and ugh.
Come on, guys, be excited. Tonight, the day that we're recording this, is the Oscars, the 2021 Oscar ceremony.
Yeah.
Is it?
Oh, it is.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Bunch of movies I never heard of. Woo!
What movies came out in 2020? Like 4?
Sonic the Hedgehog, which, strangely enough, not nominated for anything. Not even visual effects. Whatever, mate.
Came out in 2020? I thought it was the end of 2019. But
No,
yeah,
it was Valentine's Day. It was the last movie that I saw in
That
theaters.
was Wayne.
Yeah. So.
It was
I mean, that was the last movie I saw in theaters as well. So.
You know, I was talking to the fellow on my other podcast. I said if Sonic the Hedgehog is the last movie I see in theaters, I guess I'm kind of okay with it because it was an enjoyable experience at least.
Yeah.
But speaking of Oscar-winning movies, Tay, what's your recommendation for us today?
Well, I had us watch Jojo Rabbit from 2019, directed by Taika Waititi. Written by Christine Lewins and Taika Waititi. Stars Roman Griffin Davis, Thomasin McKenzie, Scarlett Johansson. Let's click on the link so I can see the whole thing. Taika Waititi as well. Sam Rockwell, Rebel Wilson, Alfie Allen, to name a few. One of my favorites, Archie Yates, who played Yorkie. I liked Yorkie. But yeah, so this movie, I was expecting...
Give us that synopsis.
Oh, the synopsis, right. Which vanished when I clicked on that link. Hold on.
A World War II satire that follows a lonely German boy whose worldview is turned upside down when he discovers his single mother is hiding a young Jewish girl in her attic. Aided only by his idiotic imaginary friend, Adolf Hitler, Jojo must confront his blind nationalism.
There you go. That was it. I mean, that's a better description than the one it gives on IMDb, where it's just like a young boy in Hitler's army finds out his mom's hiding a Jewish girl.
Yeah, this one was a little bit more in depth. Had a little bit longer words in there too, just to impress you guys on my grammatical expertise.
Yeah, I was impressed. You said all those words right. Yeah. So I want to start the conversation. Like, I was kind of expecting like this to be more of a comedy. Like it definitely is a comedy, but
yeah,
it's more of a dramedy. Like, I mean, World War II is, kind of a heavy topic. So I guess I should have expected more dramedy, but I don't know. What'd you guys think?
If I think back in my brain to when Nick and I actually saw the trailer for this in the theaters, and we both were like, huh. Because what they showed was like this, those kind of like more slapsticky parts with like Rebel Wilson and, when the kid drops the Panzer Shrek and it shoots off a missile into the building. Like that's what they kind of showed off. And they kind of put it forward as like this comedy, more so straightforward comedy. And I'm so glad that it's not just a stupid comedy. I feel like it's I think it's less of a comedy and more of a drama, actually.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think they do a good job balancing it out throughout the movie. Like, I think there's, it starts off like opening, as a comedy, like, the boy, running with the stick grenade, and the boy, doing this, doing that, and then just random parts where they add the punchline, like the Shitler, like that. I don't know why that stands out, but I just remember, oh, Shitler, and then near the end where they're like all going through the hell Hitler, hell
Yeah,
Hitler,
I thought
and
that was
I didn't even
hilarious.
catch on to that until the second time. I was like, oh, this is a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do agree. Like especially in that scene where the Gestapo's at the house. Like it's such a good
Yeah.
balance of it because it starts off kind of lighthearted. The Gestapo guys are kind of making jokes and they're kind of looking goofy, and then it gets really serious in there, and you really start to feel the tension. And then of course it breaks once the tension is over because they believe that the girl is not Jewish, and they kind of move on after that.
Yeah.
And it also, like, I like how the whole tone of the movie changes as the war gets closer to where Jojo is living. Like, it starts off, the war ain't anywhere in sight, and it's all about the propaganda and building it up. And then once the reality of the war comes in and sets in, that's when things start to get way darker, and it's not just like a fun-loving movie where Adolf Hitler's all happy. Now Adolf Hitler's really pissed off, and, it really does turn it around in the end, and that's what I really love about the movie is it kind of like just what I was saying. The war gets closer and the movie gets darker, obviously.
Show the gradual downfall of the character, because like as soon as the girl was present, you could tell that like what they have was like the Hitler character did immediately not like her because he saw that he was changing around her.
Well, I mean, she's Jewish.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I understand.
Of course,
I'm
it's
just
immediately
saying, though.
not gonna like her.
I do like that
But-
second the
you know what I
kid,
mean.
Jojo finds out that like Hitler shot his own brains out. Like he sees Hitler with a big old head wound and everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's the point where Hitler starts to become more of like a more of like he actually was, kind of just like this dictator tyrant. How do you say it? Whatever.
Tyrant?
Yeah, it's more of like a tyrant.
Tyrant?
He's like trying to command him to do this or that. Where in the beginning he was like sort of helping him in his imagination, of course, throughout the movie. And then all of a sudden it kind of takes a mad twist when shit starts to hit the fan. And like I said, when the war comes closer, that's when I think it also is like a personification of how Jojo is feeling inside about the war coming closer to him.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think the message throughout this, yeah, if it was a message,
Yeah, obviously.
could be, there was just, like, the one part that stands out is when the boy was like, oh, draw me a picture where Jews live. And then she draws, him, and he's like, oh, this is just a picture of my brain or my face. And she's like, yeah, because we live inside your head. And honestly, I really liked that part. I thought that part stood out pretty darn well.
Yeah, you're talking about how the like oh, what are they called? It's on the tip of my tongue. I am just blanking.
I know.
Right now.
Because I've got like 2 brain cells, so I'm not going to be any help.
I like that because it shows that all these all these like things about the Jewish people having horns and being evil and blah blah blah. It's all in their head essentially, just like Greedy said. I was trying to think of the word to describe it, but I can't. So
Manipulation, propaganda.
It's like if you see someone walking down the street and you're like
misapprehend or like
no, it's like
misinterpret.
No, it's like
now trying to find a word.
It's like
misconceive.
No, it's like if like a certain a certain ethnicity has a certain stigma attached to them. So it's like, these people always have curly mustaches. What's that?
A stereotype?
Yes, thank you, Tay. Oh, the 2 brain cells working better than my entire brain. That is what I wanted to say this whole time.
We got there. It's all right.
Yeah.
Our listeners are probably just yelling out that word the whole time. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, stereotype, stereotype.
Yes, idiots.
Anyways, but
Yeah.
yeah, I felt like that was a good message, and I think, like I said, that stands out.
Yeah. I like. What was I gonna say? I can't remember now. Again, I've got 2 working brain cells today. So
Well, I'll
yeah,
think about stereotypes now.
yeah. The whole message of the movie is like it kind of resonates like with culture in today as well. How you shouldn't like blindly follow something just because it's like it's kind of like group think in that way almost.
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I do have one thing I can talk about, but it's kind of I guess like the twist or towards the end of the movie, which I figure I want to get to a little later. I feel like we should talk about more.
We jump around a lot though, so
We do jump around a lot, but
Well, yeah. If you want to talk about something else, I think that the cinematography in this movie is outstanding.
Yeah.
Just the way that things are framed and just the way the camera moves, it's very fluid. I mean, and it just I love the framing, especially like very early on in like the forest when. I mean, it's just Hitler comes out from behind a tree, and it's framed so perfectly because he just kind of appears.
Yeah.
It's and the whole framing of that whole section is really nice, and I really like. It's just a beautiful movie to watch, especially because the color palette, just like I was saying before, with how the war comes closer and the feeling and emotions of the movie changes. So does the color palette. It goes from being a bright green and the buildings are bright and
joy,
and then it goes into more of like a gray, dark, maybe like a bluish type hue, and then of course at the end of the movie when the war ends, it goes back to being lively and colorful and stuff like that.
I didn't notice it while watching. Like subconsciously, I did because when you said it, I was like, "Oh yeah, it did do that."
Yeah,
I remember doing that, but I didn't like notice it while watching it.
and you can notice that Scarlett Johansson, her character is always like a gleaming light in the movie, even as it starts to get to the grayer shades of colors, for obvious reasons, because because of her connection with Jojo. But I want to say, well, do you guys have anything else you want to say about the cinematography?
I think you nailed it.
you basically nailed it.
So, I've only ever seen Scarlett Johansson in these action Marvel roles, right?
Yeah.
She is phenomenal in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, especially the dinner scene where she's switching between being her husband and herself. Like, it is just so well done. I was astonished. It was so good.
Great.
She's a great actor.
I was a little surprised at first because I've really only ever seen her in action movies or I'm trying to think. Yeah. I think, besides Lost in Translation, I think, which Bill Murray movie. I think that's the only other movie I've seen. But that was like one of her first movies.
Yeah.
But it was the same kind of thing. It was more of a dramedy. But yeah, I agree. She did really good, especially the whole scene where she pretends to be the dad. I agree. Which kind of brings me to my other thing I was going to talk about. What do you guys think of like that kind of? I guess I don't know if it was a twist, but like the fact where Jojo, reveal. Yeah, the reveal where Jojo finds her all hung up.
Yeah, I actually audibly gasped, and Amanda.
I was surprised.
Amanda will confirm that I audibly gasped as soon as like you saw that. Like I just noticed the shoes were the same.
Yep.
Like they didn't have to show her face. They didn't have to show anything. As you just everyone
didn't show
knew
anything
the
else.
shoes. That was all they needed. That's all they needed to show because as soon as you see the shoes and the reaction of Jojo, it turns into you just know what happened.
Yeah. Dude, I realized that right before Jojo did. I went, oh my, what?
Yeah, like I said, I audibly gasped. I was like, oh shit. Because like you don't really see her much in the movie, and you're not expecting her to get like taken out, but it was a surprise for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they did a good job like up to that scene, like showing that movie, like you knew like as soon as you saw those shoes who they were and then it was just you just knew it was a well done job like directing or editing to have people be like, oh yeah, that's the mother.
Yeah, and then you also have to commend them for like the camera work going to that, because you don't see the shoes dangling until Jojo stands up. Even though he's in the hanging area, he's following that butterfly. You don't know that that's where he is throughout the entire scene. Like, there's not even like a hint of it being that same area. Once again, harkening back to the colors of the movie changed drastically, so you don't even notice, like, maybe that window's the same, or maybe that's the same. It feels like a completely different area, but as soon as they, kind of zoom out a little bit, it becomes, you realize what's happened.
Yeah.
And you don't even think about that, like, scene again where the Jews are, hanging there, and I don't know if we could say that, but
Actually, no.
like
Most of those people weren't Jewish people. They were Germans who helped Jews.
Yeah.
They
They hung them up in the town square to tell people, hey, don't do this, or we're gonna find you and kill you. That was the whole job of the Gestapo, was find these Jewish people and then killing the people who hid them.
Yeah.
Well, what I was trying to get at is foreshadowing, because you don't think of it. You're like, oh, just these people are dead. Like, so
you're
what?
talking about like the original scene where
The first scene that they showed them.
yeah.
Because you don't think about it. I mean, we watch it again, we will, but like watching it the first time, you're like, oh, what's the point of this? But you're thinking about the World War II and Hitler, and you're like, oh, he just did it to kill people. So
that was more of Joseph Stalin's thing, just kind of killing everyone. Hitler had a very strong agenda. So
so she got hung because she was helping that girl, or
they probably found the little thing she was leaving around that or like I can't remember what he said. It said it because it was written in German, but pretty much like free everybody or something. I don't remember, but
she was probably helping other people too, not just that one girl.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
I
mean, they said
because they didn't do anything. Because if they found out that they were hiding Rosie, then they would have invaded the house, right?
Well, they did search the house, remember? And Jojo even said that no one really knew that his sister had died, so she could easily take her place.
They've actually probably, the Gestapo came to the house probably because they had already found her.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. She was probably already dead by that time.
Yeah. At first I was wondering, like, oh, they hung her because they went to their house, but I was like, no, they would have come back for Elsa. So it was probably the opposite. They found her leaving those messages, hung her up, and then we gotta search her house.
Yeah.
Yeah, but why wouldn't they take? I don't think
they didn't take her because the ruse. Remember, she pretended to be the daughter, and the one German soldier helped them because she said the wrong day or year for the birth, but the one guy helped out with that, so that's why they didn't get discovered.
Yeah, I feel like that guy was Rockwell's character. I can't remember his first name. Sam Rockwell. His character and like his little lieutenant or whatever who was helping him out. I totally got the feeling that they actually were gay.
Yeah, obviously. I do too. But
Which
at the time,
why they helped him out.
Well, yeah. At the time, they would have been sent to the.
Yeah, they would have been killed. So they were hiding it, but that probably is why he's helped them out. He's like, yeah, I'm hiding stuff too. So you know what?
Yeah. I love that one of the ending shots in the movie. Not the ending shots, but like during the big climactic battle at the city, where he actually dons the the uniform and he has the music blasting and he's got the. Funny enough, he has a gun called the Waffle in his hands, and I thought that's a great scene. Like
that was a good one.
Like in the middle of all this chaos, he's just like there gleaming in his armor.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that his lieutenant, whatever, the guy he was working with, I'm guessing he died, and that's why he was just like, you know what, I'm gonna save Jojo. I'm gonna probably die for it. I don't care because I have nothing else to live for.
Yeah, I teared up at that part. Not gonna lie, I thought that was like a really powerful moment.
That was a great moment.
Yeah,
where he freed Jojo.
Yeah. Well, that's also like it really shows the stark difference between the U.S. Army and like the Allies and the Russian Army, because the Allies were rounding people up and they were just kind of like keeping them as POWs, but the Russians were pissed at the Germans, so they were just they literally just were slaughtering as burned land.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Smart that the guy knew that instead of like not calling him like a German and just calling him a Jew. So he's like, oh,
well, yeah,
not gonna get killed.
well, I mean, at that time, Russians had found, camps, and the U.S. Army had found
Yeah.
camps. So
Yeah.
obviously, they took a little bit of pity on the person who was being called a Jew and spit on.
Mm-hmm. So I just thought it was smart.
So since we're on the topic of characters, and what do you think about the lady Fearlin Ram or something like that?
Rebel
Um,
Wilson's character.
Yeah, just call her
Yeah.
Rebel Wilson because that's literally all I saw when I was watching the movie.
Yeah.
I don't think they gave her a
Um,
name.
I felt like she was a little frustrating.
Yeah, she was really out of place in this movie because out of all the characters, she was the one who like was putting on like the thickest accent and it was sounded really fake. And then
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Rebel Wilson. Like I don't hate her, but like I feel like
She's just.
like any other person in that role probably would have done the same job. So I'm not gonna like diss the movie for that. But and also she was barely in the movie anyway. But yeah, it did take me out of the
She's the
experience a
Melly
little bit
Brown.
when she came up. What was that, Nick?
She's the Melly Brown of the
Millie Bobby
Godzilla.
Brown.
Yeah, that one.
But yeah, I don't like Rebel Wilson in many of her roles, but this one stood out
this
the
is
most to me.
This is like the first thing I've actually ever seen her in. Like I've seen like trailers and commercials of her stuff she's been in, but I've never actually seen any of the movies she's been in.
I've seen a couple of them.
Yeah, she's kind of like the same character in every movie.
Yeah,
And in this
she
one,
really
she's
is.
kind of the same. Loud, obnoxious,
Yeah, I can see that.
out of her element, kind of.
But if we're going to talk about other characters, again, Yorkie was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love it when like Jojo first comes to him and is like, I found a Jew, and he's like, oh cool. We found one in the forest once. They weren't what I expected. And then like later say, hey, remember that Jew? She might be my girlfriend. And he's like, good foo. I really liked. I think I was worried he died, and then when he shows up at the end and he's still alive, I was like, oh good.
Yeah. I'm glad that they kind of gave him a little bit of a limited screen time because obviously the focus should have been, it's always going to be on Jojo in this movie.
I
But
agree.
Jojo, yeah.
he was a nice, because he was like he always had like a positive outlook. So like when he shows up at the end, he's not talking about this or that. He's just glad that his friend is still alive, and
Yeah.
he was a nice character in the movie. I think
Yeah.
honestly I think the acting by all the kids in this movie was better than Rebel Wilson's.
Right?
Yeah.
They did a phenomenal job.
Yeah. Especially the lead. Like
Yeah, Jojo. I don't know the kid's actual name, but yeah, Jojo did a great job. Surprising, like then, because they're all just kid actors. But I mean, compared to like other movies with kid actors, damn, they were just so good.
yeah.
Kid actors are way off of being being good.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. And these guys did a phenomenal job. I don't know if it was just because Taika Waititi like knows how to work with kids or something, but
Yeah, it's hard to say. He hasn't really had kids like in his other movies.
yeah. So
I guess did he direct Grand Budapest Hotel? Although that kid was a little bit older anyway, so
I don't know if he did. I don't know.
still love Taika Waititi. He has such a great style.
I love him. Like, yeah, What We Do in the Shadows, Thor Ragnarok, this one, they're all good movies. So
And he plays a pretty good Hitler.
he does.
Oh yes.
He does. For sure.
So I wanted to talk about the climactic fight a little bit because they actually had some really historical accurate moments in there. Specifically with just how it was like it wasn't like soldiers fighting in the end. Like you obviously had soldiers mixed in there.
Yeah.
But they started off with you saw the kid who we were just talking about. He has a rifle on his back. He's suited up in like this kid uniform that's not really his size, and you're like, oh, that's kind of weird that they're gonna put him on the front line. And then as the battle starts up and progresses, you obviously see there's people who are missing hands. There's people who don't even know how to use a weapon. Like there's the one girl who's like messing around with the machine gun. And then like I think the most powerful moment is when the Hitler Youth kids are all charging into the battlefield. Like that was just how desperate the German army had become, and because of this whole nationalism thing, these kids were brainwashed and they're just running straight forward into this gunfire. And the Germans knew that, the U.S. soldiers aren't going to shoot kids, are they? It's a very powerful moment, and I think that whole climactic scene is, in a whole, just a great representation of the end of the war for Germany and just how desperate things were getting.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I don't know if I have anything else to add to that. I think you're right.
It's a true statement.
Yeah.
But I just the representation is really good. Like the girl messing around with the MP40, not sure how to reload it. Then it sweeps over the kid, who obviously doesn't know how to cock his gun. They have no training. You have the people who are crippled and sick, and there's a woman who shoots the bazooka, and they don't look like soldiers because they aren't soldiers, because they're just taking up arms to defend their city or town or part of the town. It's just it was a very, like, I felt that the entire time, pretty much through to the ending. You just kind of feel like this intensity and the desperation in the German forces.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then obviously one of the best moments of the movie is when they're after Jojo's done lying and he reveals that the war was over. The first thing she does is start dancing like she said she would.
Yeah, that was nice.
Anyone else thought Jojo was gonna like keep her like as a cat, like just keep her like there, like, oh, you can't come out.
He was definitely thinking about it because he knew he would kind of lose her if he told her that the war was over. Like she would go back to where she's from,
and she would go live with her fiance, which she finally reveals he's been dead for over a year.
Yeah,
like she's known the whole time that he's been writing these letters. It was him.
I wonder how she found out. Did they? I mean, I guess it doesn't matter, but
yeah, it's not too big of a deal. But
well, I'm guessing he probably died as the resistance in another part of the war, and then she was living with him at the time.
They said he died of tuberculosis.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So he wasn't even part of the war. You're right.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
So he probably
flew
to Paris and was writing her letters, and then whoever he was staying with contacted her afterwards, and like he took him to tuberculosis and he's dead.
That is correct. I remember that now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tay.
No problem.
What do you guys think of the music choices in the movie? Because I don't know about you guys, but hearing the German version of Beatles songs always kind of makes me think of Wolfenstein. Because especially in like the Wolfenstein 2, they have a lot of like music that's turned into like if Germany had won the war, blah blah blah, and like these bands would have to write their songs in German and for German. And I always hear like they usually use the German version of some of the, because there was an album that the Beatles recorded in German, and it always makes me think of Wolfenstein. But I love how the German sounds with the Beatles. Like it's such a it's kind of like a vibe. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed. I thought it was a little odd choice just because like the Beatles weren't around in the 40s. But
yeah. Well, I mean, it kind of sounds like a 40s song, though, if you think about it.
It pretty is.
Their early stuff is kind of more like doo-wop and all that.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, I didn't hate it. I wasn't like, what the hell is this? Now, I was a little weird, like I said, confused. Just like, this song was probably not written until the 60s.
Yeah. But I think the music choice throughout the movie was pretty good, too.
Yeah.
And they knew when to use music, when not to use music. And I love the ending song too. The ending song was great too.
Yeah.
Because most of the movie didn't really have. Most of the movie didn't really have much music to it because you had like lots of talking and lots of like not like much action. Like the first half, like I don't know, say first hour and a half of the movie into like everything goes down. Then you have like these slow movements and music right when he's like spinning, when it's like slow motion spinning around him, showing very sad music. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really didn't pay attention to the music. I mean, I was just so invested in movie. I was just like, oh, music, I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, something that I was paying like when they put it in the forefront, like in the opening credits and the ending credits. That's that's when I usually notice it the most. But
Yeah, the ending song is fun. I was bopping to it.
yeah,
Can I learn the dance at the end?
yeah,
Link will be attached in the description. No, I'm
Yeah.
kidding.
All of us dancing.
Yes. Oh boy.
That's soon bad.
That would be very bad. I'm not a good dancer.
Me neither.
just play some Just Dance. You'll learn how to dance real quick.
Oh, that.
I would
Dance
recommend the
moves that no one
Kinect
does.
Star Wars game, the dancing.
I did play one of those once on the Kinect. Not the Star Wars one, but a Just Dance, I think. One of my siblings had bought it, and so I tried it, and I was just like, huh, okay.
I mean, I played it when I was in high school, and our talent show both of our talent shows acts were based around Just Dance dances routines. So everyone can dance. You know that old saying.
Practice.
You just
gotta
gotta
practice.
just gotta
Yemmy
play.
had a fun Mario dance game.
Oh, the DDR one.
Yeah. That was a fun one.
Dude, I love DDR. It was a lot of fun. It didn't teach you how to dance, just it was a cardio
It
workout.
was like I mean, any rhythm game really spoke to me, and still do. But
Anyways, that's off topic.
what is this, DDR
Yeah, let's say-
podcast or Jojo
It does.
podcast?
Well,
The songs released this week? No, I'm kidding.
All right. Anyone else got
Alright.
anything they want to bring up about the movie?
no, I think we talked about cinematography and just everything.
About
I
the
think-
dinner scene.
yeah, I think we've got it.
Photography.
I mean, I do like the scene where Jojo steals the grenade from Sam Rockwell and throws
He
it.
just ends up blowing himself up.
Yeah.
So confident.
Yeah, that was
Don't
great.
do that.
I like that
I do.
Jojo thinks he's disfigured when it's like he's just got a few scars. It's like,
Yeah.
Well,
Your
I mean,
Hollywood
everyone
disfigured.
around him was calling him ugly. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
obviously gonna scar your self-image. And even like his imaginary friend Hitler, who was a personification of he's calling him ugly too. And
yeah, and he called him beautiful or handsome or beautiful or whatever in the very first scene.
right.
So
So yeah, it does have a good significance on the story, and I think that
It does,
I mean,
it
I
does.
think the actor did a good job of like keeping the limp throughout the movie.
Yeah.
I didn't notice many times when he was like walking normal, but I mean, I wasn't like super paying attention.
yeah,
Like, it wouldn't be like a big deal if they like kept like didn't keep it for too long, but still, it's like I know.
well, and they said he was getting better, so like I think the
Yeah.
limp did get a
It
little
makes sense over time.
less prominent, but yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, I just wanted to talk about like so that was a fun scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I think we've hit everything we needed to discuss.
All right,
Yeah.
Tay, lead us off in our final thoughts and rating.
Sorry. All right. I had to yawn. So overall, like I said, I think we talked about the cinematography was really good. Like I enjoyed the music and the the uses of it. The fact that it was more drama with like some sprinkling of comedy. Like I think it really had a great tone for a World War II movie. Overall, I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I mean, can't complain about much of anything in the movie. Had a great brisk pace to it. I think that as we all agree, the cinematography on point, all the acting really well done. The only smudge on the movie is really Rebel Wilson, but I'm not gonna be that critical of her because it wasn't like terrible, but had some good scenes of funny moments. I mean, the movie made me laugh, made me cry, made me feel intense. It's hard to describe exactly how the movie makes you feel because there's so many different emotions going through this movie. I mean, great. I mean, I already said the acting was really phenomenal. And yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5 as well.
Oh man, living. I gotta talk up a big storm here. Yeah, I watched movie was fun. I think it does a great job, as I mentioned earlier, of balancing out like the comedy to being serious to being back to comedy. Few examples I said earlier. The Shitler and the Hell Hitler and all that. That was funny. I feel like there was a small slow point, but nothing to be crazy about. And Rebel Wilson, as I mentioned earlier, I wasn't a fan of her. Um, I felt the opening scene was fun, and just the random. The kids were great. The acting was great. The dress, the clothing, fantastic. The pictures, fantastic. Um, but that being said, I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah, I basically said all my points. In this movie, like I didn't know what I was like to think of it. Like it was like I don't know, like 45 minutes in because nothing too crazy was that. Like not like I didn't expect like crazy things like stuff to happen like when all shit went down. But like I expect, but still like I was it got better over time and I enjoyed it. With I also give it 4.5 out of 5.
Alrighty. Sounds like we're all pretty much on the same page.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, Coco, you're next up on the ballot. What do you got for us?
Now, so I'm deciding to go with well, I don't know if it's different. I guess it's a little different, but not too different from what I usually enjoy. So I would say, we are going to watch Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle. All the Rock and all all the characters together.
All right.
Oh, the new Jumanjis.
Is
I've
it
never
the new
seen
one? I'm about to say,
those.
Yeah.
it's the new one.
Or
Okay.
not the newest one. But
it's not the newest one, but it's the first of the new ones.
That's
Yes.
good because I've not seen any of them. So
Yeah, I haven't. That's a good place to start because I have been interested in seeing them, just never got around to it. So.
Mm-hmm. So we got the synopsis: 4 teenagers are sucked into a magical video game, and the only way they can escape is to work together to finish the game. So that's a basic synopsis, but it's not bad. We got Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, Karen Gillan, Fire Stabby, Bobby Cannavore, Nick Jones, Alex Worth. And then the young actors, which doesn't really count.
oh,
If
wow,
like,
that's a hot take. No, that's okay. You don't have to say all of them. You just have to say some.
all right. That's my.
Well,
Now, where can we find this movie to watch?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Amazon, iTunes, Vudu, Google Play, YouTube. All the bases are covered.
Yeah.
Fubo? Yeah. All right. So if you don't want to be spoiled for Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle from 2017, make sure you watch that before the next episode, which will be in 2 weeks. We'll come back and discuss that. And of course, as I said at the beginning of the podcast, the fan vote will be decided. The winner will be announced at the end of Coco's episode as well. Just as a recap, Lilo and Stitch, Pitch Black, Big Trouble in Little China, and Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen are the movies that are up on the ballot. So make sure you get those votes in either now or no. Do it now. Do it now.
Do it now.
Now,
Yeah.
right?
What are you doing with yourself?
All right. Any thoughts before we end the podcast here, boys?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've been here. Oh, fuck. Hold on.
You've been
I was doing the Ferret 64 outro. All right. So, thank you for listening to this episode of Film Freaks with a Z. I'm Yemmy the Ferret, and I've been here with...
Pretty awful.
J-Mation.
And Coco Gamer.
And we are Film Freaks with a Z. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
See?